guys, welcome to Lurd Investigates. I'm the Lurd, and this is Gertie, and we're going to be discussing the Gannon Stauch case. It's a case that really has captured everyone on a global level, and now we have some recent developments as of yesterday, and it's time for all of us to watch as we get justice for Gannon. Welcome to my channel. Let's dig in. So, as many of you know, Gannon Stauch is an 11-year-old boy who went missing from Colorado Springs, Colorado on January 27th. Let's start by talking about who all is involved, so everyone knows who everyone is, because it gets confusing. You've got Lena, who is his younger sister. You've got Landon, who is his mother, his biological mother. Then you've got Eugene Al, who we all know as Al, and he's Gannon's dad. Veronica, who you will see in some of the screenshots and some of the comments that we've seen from Facebook groups, and she's been with Landon pretty much everywhere, at all the press conferences. That's Landon's aunt. Now we've got Tisha, who is also known as Letecia Stauch. She also has 12 other names that she goes by. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then you've got Harley Hunt, who is her daughter. Deep breath. Okay, so now that we have that down, I just want to talk about Gannon for a minute. He was known as a very friendly, goofy kid, always trying to make people laugh. He was born a premature baby. He was 1 pound and 6 ounces. His parents were very proud of him for everything he had gotten through as a little tiny baby, and he was really a miracle baby. So it would make a lot of us sad anyway if he wasn't a premature baby, but just because of that too, it's just added sadness that he was such a fighter and this happened to him. Monday, January 27th, he was reported missing by his stepmother. Said that he was sick that day and wasn't feeling well. He had a stomach ache, according to her. In one of her Crime Online articles that we'll talk about later, she had stated that he pooped his pants. Really? You're gonna say it like that? At 10:15, around 10:15 in the morning, there's video footage from their neighbor, Roderick Drayton, that shows Tisha walking out to the truck, getting inside the truck, backing up into the driveway. Then a boy that looks like Gannon comes out. It seems like Gannon to us. He got in the back seat. She got in the front. There was a little bit of a delay once they got in, and then she drove off. So that's the footage we have from that morning. According to her Crime Online article, they were going shopping. Apparently, they were going to Castle Rock. They were going to Play It Again Sports to get Gannon some hockey equipment. She was looking for a bike for Al for Valentine's Day, I think. There's been talk and information about Tisha going into a Petco at some point in the day. I believe it was about 1 o'clock. The person who checked her out at Petco said she was acting erratically. This person is on the witness list. Reportedly, she went into the Petco, bought 3 dog coats, acted super weird, left, came back about a half an hour, did something really similar, and then left again. Then we see her returning to the home around 2:20 p.m. on the same surveillance footage. But Gannon did not get out of the car. That he went to his friend's house but she doesn't remember what time. She says it was 3:15, between 3:15 and 4 o'clock, which I found kind of weird because if your kid leaves, you would at least be able to say, like, within a couple of minutes when they left, in my opinion. I don't have kids, but I have fur children, and I can pretty much remember the last time I saw my cat. He hides from me. I saw him maybe an hour ago. He's probably in my closet. Reports him as a runaway, and his status remains like that for about 3 days until they report him as a missing and endangered child. So the day before he went missing, they went on a hike to Garden of the Gods. They ate Burger King. Harley came home later that night and later on camera in a video interview said very timidly that she had seen Gannon that night. It's only been a couple of days, right? Like, okay, it's been maybe 3 days since he's been missing. His stepmom, Letecia, she starts releasing all sorts of stuff on Facebook. She's very angry at all of us online who are trying to figure out what happened to Gannon, not for our own entertainment, but because we care. And she's getting really upset that we are starting to suspect her. And so throughout this whole situation, she has been releasing different comments and things like that. And one of the things that she released was a video that she accidentally took, and it is awful. And we've probably all heard it, but I'll play it here.
Well, devastating. Initially, Scott, I can't lie, when the TMZ information...
Gannon, I promise this is the last time I'm going to ask you. I'm just freaked out, okay? Are you sure you didn't do it on purpose?
He did it.
Okay, you promise.
He
promise.
On purpose.
Pinky promise.
Pinky.
Okay, alright, so, listen. We're going to have to sell stuff to fix it, okay? So, we figure out what we got to sell. We can sell the sofa. We can sell whatever. Because we got to get it fixed, so lady, don't be mad at us and kick us out of the house. Okay? You got it?
Supposedly, Gannon lit a candle, knocked it over on the downstairs carpet, and lit the carpet on fire. Many people online have tried to light their carpet on fire by tipping over a candle, and pretty much every time, as far as I have seen, the candle goes out. So now that we have a lot more information today than we did back then, here's the thing. We know that Letecia Stauch rented a rental car the Tuesday after Gannon went missing. One day after Gannon went missing. Al, her husband, was coming in from the airport at around noon, but she went to rent the car at around 8 in the morning. I'll show you the receipt here. So the receipt was released by Letecia to Crime Online, and it shows that she went over 900 miles on the car, and it's pretty obvious that that's really what happened because of the amount of times that she had to fill up for gas and because of how much gas she paid when she returned the rental car empty. What was she doing? Driving like 955 miles around. She says that she was looking for Gannon and was going door to door, which I guess if she's innocent could be possible, but how far could Gannon really get on foot? Letecia had stated that Gannon cut his foot in the garage that weekend, and she put him up on the car and she bandaged him up and he was fine. So if he had a stomachache, diarrhea, was having accidents in his pants, and had a cut foot, How far are you really going to drive to look for a quote-unquote runaway child? I agree. I think it's ridiculous. It's very obvious that this receipt is real, and if it was wrong, she would have corrected it before sharing it with Crime Online. So the next day, the cops were like, okay, we're starting to think that something's really weird here. The information really isn't lining up, and so on Thursday, January 30th, they upgraded him to a missing and endangered child. They started to put search parties together to look for Gannon around Colorado Springs and its surrounding areas, and Letecia decided to give an interview that day, and I'll just leave it to you to guys watch it. Honestly, I think she just really showed her true colors in this interview, but let's talk about it in a second.
You are?
I am Letecia Stauch, which is Gannon's stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20-some death threats already. Two, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home, and of course I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, you know, and in doing the investigation I was told I wasn't compliant. And could I elaborate on that?
Please do.
Yes. So I asked for an attorney during the interview, and I was denied that by them. I was held because they were blocking the door, and I was told I couldn't leave, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, you know, said I still wasn't complying, or said I was, you know, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
And that's why you say that they said then you weren't cooperating with the investigation.
That's why they said I wasn't cooperating at that time, correct.
And why did you ask for an attorney at the time?
Well, I asked for an attorney at the time because there was one individual, there was two really good detectives, and so I'm not, you know, going to talk bad about detectives, but the tactics they started to get when I would answer questions, they try to, you know, they're detectives, they're supposed to twist. The one main goal is to find Gannon. But during that time, some of those things made me feel uncomfortable the way they were saying things. So I immediately stopped and felt like an attorney would help me with some of the vocabulary and things like that I needed help with, and understanding some of the things that they were asking.
I'm going to shift gears to what has become a huge online presence of people
Right.
obviously trying to do the right thing, help find Gannon. But at the same time, sometimes it just feels like rumor mongering. Have you seen any of those comments yourself?
We have. And see, that's one of the main things we haven't been around in the public eye, because I didn't want to expose my family to it if all these things were going on. You know, there was comments about Gannon getting pushed off the hike, and there was comments about this, and that's just not true. I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would never, ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know, but I've cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun, and my daughter, a 17-year-old who serves our country in the United States Air Force, who has never committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life, was put in handcuffs over the keys that was in her purse so they could take her car.
And they weren't in there?
They weren't even in her car, in her purse.
And
they were in my pocket.
You originally didn't even know it was the law enforcement officers?
I didn't know it was a law enforcement officer because when he came out, I guess he was putting his jacket on, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw the gun and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, I got who is this guy? And then once I realized it was the sheriff's office, I was totally okay, but they still had a gun and told me they were going to shoot me. But I was really concerned about my daughter, asking why she was being detained in handcuffs and things like that, when that shouldn't even happen for a child. That shouldn't happen for someone who was standing inside of a store shopping because we couldn't have any clothes because all of our clothes were here. If we came here and got clothes, you know, we would be harassed. So she went to purchase some underwear and things like that and was put in the handcuffs in the store, you know, and then brought out with men with guns. And that's just not okay. You know, they could have approached me and said, hi, I'm with El Paso County. Can I please get this? Instead of the way that it happened.
I'm just going to check your shot. You're doing great. I want to make sure that we're still good on recording, still can hear you okay. Okay, yeah, sounds like we're good. Every once in a while my mic will give out and I want to make sure that's not going to happen here. Okay. I should try and clarify here. Not necessarily crime rates, but the way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with the source.
Oh yes, wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows and maybe they have all these theories on how Gannon is dead. And that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. And that's the main goal that we all have. My family has. Just because you haven't seen us, we have that same goal. And we've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we could protect each other.
How does it feel when not only you have a lost child who you are in care of, but then people blaming you for that child not being there?
You know, I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. And I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon. And I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario, and you know, he's always helpful, and he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house, and we have 2 little cute dogs, and he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. You know, sometimes with kids we have to remind them and things like that, and that's okay, but he was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say, are you okay? And such a kind heart.
I know you just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't answer this. But is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? We don't. That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go and say that, you know, she came home from work after the hike and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. And if she doesn't want to, that's okay. But you're allowed to ask her. Sound okay so far?
Yes. I need Harley. Because they want you to verify was Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work.
Do you want me to just say yes?
No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work and you can verify Gannon was at home. Yeah. I told her she didn't have to be too in-depth because she is still, you know, a child. But I want to make sure that someone knows that there's another person to verify that Gannon.
Sure.
Does she need to hold this?
No.
Yes, so I came home later that evening. I was at work, and I can verify that he was there that night.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys came home.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go hiking?
Garden of the Gods.
Garden of the Gods. Okay. I guess when.
And then we ate Burger King afterwards, so, you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then it just was, I'm gonna go to play at a friend's house. And then it was just, I'm off to go to play at a friend's house.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to like comment on that anymore, and for that reason is because some things have been turned and twisted, and you know, that was one of those stories you were talking about where people say things. We had to hear things like who would let their child go out at dark and things like that, and that's just why I don't want to answer that. If I had to give, I'm not gonna say that part.
That's okay.
Never mind.
That's right.
I could take that out.
I understand that it gets tricky with
Yeah.
legal stuff. Do you feel like I asked you what I need to? Do you feel like this is going to help kind of turn the tide of what feels like a witch hunt, in my opinion?
I hope. Am I on camera now?
You are
okay,
still.
Okay. I think that a lot of people can see that I'm not missing and see that I am being cooperative, but to me it's okay that they think those things, because the way someone thinks about me, I don't have a problem with that. My main thing is I would never want someone to think that I would hurt Gannon or any of the children in our home, because that's just not the case. I've spent my whole entire life working so hard in education. There was even things online that was talking about my education license and I shouldn't even be a teacher, and they just didn't know that. Like, we moved on a military move and I didn't finish out my contract, so I gave up my license in that state. It had nothing to do with any criminal activity, or any of those things. And it just got blown out of proportion on my professional status, And
Do you feel like these are just internet detectives who think they know what they're doing?
it definitely is. And, here's the thing that kind of saddens me. It's like, if you're going to talk about someone like that and have a witch hunt out for them, why would you even care, about doing those things? Because this is a child. You're telling me that you're just as mean, you're just as hateful to talk about someone else like that. That's how I feel. Like, we should all come together and wait until the end and see what happens, because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for Gannon?
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband. We just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family, is that we love you and miss you, and we hope that you come home soon. And Gannon, I can't wait till you can come home and let everyone know that you're okay. We love you.
Issues with this interview that she gave, starting with the way that she positioned herself as Gannon's stepmother. She said, "I am Letecia Stauch, which is Gannon's stepmother." That's, as we all have seen, a distancing situation. Why not just say, "I'm Gannon Stauch's stepmother"? Part of it is, I think she just talks weird. She pretends to just be this really educated person, and then she doesn't sound that way. But I also think there's something to it when we say, she's referencing that kind of weird, why is she doing that? She is completely making herself the victim in this situation. She's the hero stepmom. Landon's a horrible biological mother. Al is blaming her for the situation of what happened. She's, roping Harley in, her daughter, to try and get her to say things. She was completely coaching Harley in that situation. They did not anticipate her being mic'd and having that go all the way over there. And a couple of things that also bothered me. She said, when she was talking about Harley and her shopping and how they came and got Harley's keys and took her car, she said they weren't even in her car. She said the keys were never in her car. I mean, my purse. What? I'm sorry. That makes no sense. Who is they? And who wasn't in Harley's car? Because that was a very obvious slip to me. And she also started to say she had been told at least 10 different ways, and then fixed herself and continued saying that they have these theories. You were told at least 10 different ways what? That you killed Gannon? Because that's what it sounds like people are telling you. They have all sorts of theories about how you killed Gannon, but you couldn't just say that. It just felt weird to me. I will say that there was a moving truck in the actual video footage on the side of the road that was Letecia's, and her and Harley were moving back to South Carolina. I don't know if that's the truth. I don't know. But at some point they said that morning they thought that they drove back to South Carolina. Now, early and throughout February, The CSI unit was at their home at Lorson Ranch collecting all sorts of evidence. February 5th to February 28th, El Paso County Sheriff Office was very quiet. We were all nail-biting, trying to figure out what happened to him. Where are the latest updates? The updates really weren't even updates. They were keeping an incredibly tight lid on all of the information they had. Landon and Al made a couple of really public statements to try and get people to come forward with more information about what happened. It was very obvious that these parents were not responsible for the fact that their child is missing. Anybody attacks this family, I get really mad at them. Landon said, "I'm not giving up hope because my son is full of hope. Please call, please write. A kid doesn't just disappear without no one seeing him. Imagine how scared Gannon is. If you're scared, imagine how scared Gannon is." Then Al said he was a miracle child and that he was the life of every party and they just wanted him to come home. And Lena had also said that she missed Bubba, which just breaks my heart. On March 2nd, Letecia Stauch was arrested for first-degree murder of Gannon Stauch. However, there was no body, so we were all wondering what is going on. They came on public TV and they said at their press conference they no longer thought that Gannon was still alive and that they were going to try her for murder. They arrested her in South Carolina, where she did not fight extradition and was transferred home.
Okay, is this Miss Stauch? Stauch? I knew whichever way I went I'd be wrong, but okay. I don't know how much you know about the extradition proceeding. Do you know anything about extradition? Well, you're going to learn. This morning, you have a decision to make. You can either waive extradition, and the state of Colorado has 20 days to come get you, which, to be quite honest about it, under the facts of this particular situation, I have a feeling it'd be much shorter than that. But anyway, they'll have 20 days to come get you, or you can fight extradition. Fighting extradition means that, and this is a guesstimate on my part, that it would be about maybe 90 days from now, the Attorney General from the state of South Carolina would hold a extradition hearing where he has to prove two things: that you are Miss Stauch, Miss Stauch, and that you are wanted for a felony in the state of Colorado. It's not a very high bar for them to jump over, but that is the standard in a extradition hearing. So my question to you is: do you want to waive extradition, or do you want to fight extradition?
So when you said something about fighting it, I have to do what now?
Well, you don't have to do anything. You just have to sit until the hearing comes up. But otherwise, the state of Colorado has, if you waive extradition, they have 20 days to come get you. I would be surprised if they weren't already in the air, but that's just me. I have no factual basis for that, but I've just...
They were here yesterday. That's who actually came.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
what you want to do, young lady? You want to waive extradition, or you want to fight?
So if there's a hearing here, what does that mean? They decide and determine what? If the hearing is here, what does that decide?
It just decides whether you go back to Colorado or not.
Well, I've still never been given the opportunity, like, since the beginning, to even call my attorney and even talk to him about any of these things.
Well, where's your attorney?
I need to call my friend Laura, who has the attorney, but I was told yesterday that someone was going to do that, but they never did.
Okay.
I've asked since yesterday that I call an attorney.
Well, It doesn't matter either way to me, because I'm just asking the question. I don't care what the answers are. If you waive extradition, I will sign the extradition order, and they'll bring it back there for you to consent to. If you fight extradition, then they'll just have an extradition hearing sometime in the future. And the problem with fighting extradition is that the time you spend sitting waiting for the extradition hearing is always considered to be your time, not Colorado or whatever the requesting state's time is. So you don't get any credit. It's like, I won't say wasting your time, but and there are very few, this isn't legal advice, but I'll tell you, there's very few defenses to extradition. But it's your choice.
Oh, so you're saying it's not like a guarantee, it's just a hearing?
It's just a hearing where they have to prove you are who you are and that you're wanted for a felony. Those are the two things they have to prove in an extradition hearing. That's all. So, I mean, if you are who you are and you're wanted for a felony in Colorado, it won't do much good fighting an extradition hearing.
Oh, you're saying they have to prove that. I see what you're saying. I understand now.
Yes.
So you don't know.
Okay, what you want to do, young lady?
So Colorado.
Okay, well, I'll sign the extradition order, and they'll bring it back for you to consent to. Now, of course, it wouldn't have mattered if you waived or not waived. When somebody's somebody is a fugitive from one state, I don't let them be a fugitive from two states. So it's not like if you answered either way, it would make any difference as far as the hearing today goes, because I'm not going to set bond. Of course, with the charges that are involved, I couldn't set bond anyway, I don't think. Anyway.
Yeah, I didn't run from you guys, so I don't have any trouble with you guys. So I didn't even know anything until yesterday. So the date on that paper you have is wrong.
Well, let me tell you something else, and I didn't go into all this. But now that we've decided what we're going to do in this particular hearing, because of the charges you're charged with as far as today's concerned, I don't believe I'd say too much more, okay? All right. They'll bring the order back to you to sign in a moment. All right. To consent to, okay? All righty.
Love that judge. He calls her young lady. He explains the extradition process to her, and then he tells her basically to shut up and stop talking. She says her friend Lori, who I think is fictional, was supposed to call her lawyer and she didn't get one, and blah blah blah, and she's just lying through her teeth about that and saying she didn't get any legal counsel. On the way home in Kansas, she decided that she wanted to slip out of her handcuffs and attack a sheriff, who then went to the hospital with some injuries. The next day, they left Kansas, and that same day, she had her hearing for advisement. At that same time, the school released a statement about Letecia Stauch. Letecia Stauch's work history is kind of confusing and interesting. So if anybody has any additional insight on all of the ongoings with her career, let me know. The general consensus and discussion around it is she's continually gotten fired. She had a lawsuit against the school for sexual harassment. I always take those sexual harassment claims very serious. I suppose it's possible, but she sort of seems like a pathological liar. So at this point, I'm not sure what all I believe from her. But we do know that she has a very spotty work history. She's had a lot of situations that weren't good with her career. And in Colorado, she had started a job on Wednesday, and by the Friday she was let go due to inconsistencies in her application. Now, there is information online about how many different names Letecia Stauch goes by, and it's about 12 different names that Letecia has on file. We've got Letecia L. Harden, Letecia H. Stauch, Letecia L. Hunt, Letecia Stauch, Letecia Hunt, Letecia Lynn Harden, Letecia Lynn Hunt, Letecia Harden Stauch, Letecia L. Stauch, and Letecia Hunt. And then sometimes her middle name is Lan, and sometimes her middle name is Lynn. So, I mean, which one is it? I mean, I probably have like 3 different names floating around, but usually I use the same consistent name. So I thought this was just kind of weird, and maybe it's her roundabout way of getting jobs when she has a record, because she also has some assault charges, she has a random loitering charge. So back to more current days. So eventually they got her to the El Paso County. She had her advisement, which really was nothing crazy. Her public defender looked a little too cheery, and the people in the background looked a little scary, but other than that, she waved for them to read her charges, probably because she didn't want to get killed in prison. And on March 11th, they had a hearing, a formal hearing, and Landon was there, and Al was there, and pretty much her attorney was blocking her the whole time, and she looked defeated and sort of sick in the head, to be honest. Yesterday, on March 20th, we got a bit of a break. Earlier in the week, there was a body found near Pensacola in Pace, Florida. And I can't even believe he's in Florida this whole time. I'm in Florida, and I'm sure my fellow Floridians never thought to just like go out and search for Gannon, and just sort of pissed us all off. Like, how did she get him there? Obviously, the body was not identified yet, and Pensacola News Journal stated that they're investigating after road construction crew found a body. They didn't say whether it was a child. They just said it was found. They found a body near the road on Tuesday afternoon. On Friday, March 20th, the body was tentatively identified as Gannon Stauch. We got our break in the case. They added more formal charges, and now she has like 13 counts against her that she's basically going to prison for life, most likely. It's still alleged that she killed him, but they have a lot of evidence that they're not sharing. They were in and out of the home quite a bit. They went to great lengths to hide what it was that we actually were collecting on their side. So we have hope, but we are heartbroken for Gannon's family, and I just can only imagine what would have happened if she just left and Gannon was still with us here today. So Landon, Al, Lena, we're very sorry for your loss. The true crime community is doing anything and everything they can to continue to talk about Gannon and the light that he was to the world. If you guys want to let me know what your opinion is about what happened to Gannon, how he got to Florida, or anything else, any other thoughts about this video, please let me know in the comments. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell, because we'll be covering a lot of cases coming up soon. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Gonna drop a vid of my dog just to kind of perk you back up. And sweet Gannon, we're thinking of you, and we're so glad that you're in heaven, and we can put you to rest now. Look at this dog. What are you doing? Kurt, what are you doing? Yeah, are you a star? My goodness gracious, look at that dog. Ah!